Good evening. The Tiny Pilot is back. I'm sorry I've been away for so long, but it's been a very busy semester. I'd like to apologize to Brooklyn83. In September, Brooklyn commented on a video, and asked a couple questions about becoming a private pilot. I did not realize I had these questions until a couple days ago, on December 4th. Brooklyn83, I am very, very sorry, but I will answer your questions right now. Brooklyn83 asked what the average cost of flight training to become a private pilot is, how long it usually takes, and what age do most people usually start at. We'll go with the third question first. What age? Age really varies. You can start in high school, you can start in college. You could be a middle-aged person who just wants a new, exciting hobby. So you could be in your 40s, maybe 30s. It all varies. However, to become a student pilot, you do need to be 16 years old, and to actually become a private pilot and receive the certificate, you have to be 17. So, again, it really varies. Now, as to how much it costs for flight training, well, the Federal Aviation Regulations state that you have to have 40 hours minimum of flight time. Now, this has to be 20 hours with an instructor, 10 hours solo, which is when, of course, you are solo, by yourself, flying the aircraft. And then 10 hours of other. So it can be solo, or it can be with your instructor. So using these numbers, we're just going to do some math and find out what all it takes to become a private pilot. So we're saying our instructor has a rate of $30 an hour, and the plane is $100 an hour. So, doing all this, of course, this 130 number comes from the instructor and the plane together. Because those 20 hours, you have to have the plane, you have to have your instructor. So our 20 hours with our instructor is going to cost $2,600. The 10 hours where we're flying by ourselves, well, that'll be $1,000. Because, of course, we don't have to worry about our instructor. Now, for the last 10 hours, I'm going to guess that you'll probably be with your instructor. Because you can't just get everything you need done within 20 hours. It's sort of unrealistic. So we're going to say that these 10 hours are with your instructor, so again, 130, which gives us $1,300. On top of the flight time, of course, you also need all your equipment. That's your charts, your books, CDs, your headset, your bag, everything else that your instructor requires you to have in order to have your flights. So I'm going to say this is around $300 because headsets really aren't cheap, and all the charts that the FAA produces, those expire sometimes within a month, sometimes within 3 months, 6 months, even a year. Sometimes you have to be constantly getting all sorts of new charts. Your ground is your aeronautical knowledge. Now this, it isn't actually required in the FAR a certain number of hours that you have to take. It just says what you have to be proficient in. So, for example, you need to know how to pre-flight an airplane. You need to know how to what happens in a stall. You need to know the aerodynamics of the airplane. Really, just a lot of information that you just have to know in order to be a good pilot and understand how flying works. Now, I went to Embry-Riddle, and all of this information actually came from an actual class. So I'm not sure how long this usually takes for someone who's just going to a flight school, meeting with their instructor, but I'm going to say it's going to be at least 5 hours because there's a lot of information you have to be proficient on. So 5 hours with your instructor, that is $150. Your practical FAA test is a big old test at the end, very exciting, proctored, and everything like that. It's usually around $80. Your check ride is the big last thing you have to do. It's where you meet with an FAA examiner, they talk to you, you do a bunch of paperwork, you answer a lot of questions, and then you have one last flight before they certify you. So this is really a big deal. Usually takes a good day, 6-7 hours. So really what it breaks down to is how long you're talking with the examiner, and then you're maybe a 2-3 hour flight. So I'm going to guesstimate that it's around $750. I don't exactly remember how much mine was, but it was definitely up over $600. So this is everything. This is kind of the minimum that you have to do, which gives us a grand total of $5,780. Now this is definitely a lowball estimate, this number right here. I got mine, my private pilot, within about 60 hours. So it can vary. As long as you have your 40, then you're good. As long as, of course, you're proficient with everything. So how long does this usually take? Well, if you have the time and motivation, I mean, you need 40 hours at the minimum. So you could get it done within, a month, depending on how dedicated you are, how much money you have right there in your hand, and of course how much availability there is with your instructor and with your plane. Now, usually the private pilot gets done within a year. It can vary, of course, depending on your schedule. Maybe you can only fly twice a week. Maybe you can fly 3 times a month. So as long as you have the time and dedication and motivation, you can easily become a private pilot, definitely within a year. I hope that answers your questions. If you have any more, please feel free to drop a line. I am, of course, very sorry, Brooklyn83, that it took me a good 2 or 3 months to get back to you. But I hope that answers your questions. Have a great evening.